Hey everybody, this is Rosalind Bandy. I'm the sustainability leader for TLMI. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes. It's 1 minute past 1. We'll wait till 3 minutes past 1 and see if we have more attendees show up. But we do have a lot to cover, so we won't wait much after that. But wanted to let you know we're just going to wait a couple more minutes. And if you have any questions or comments, both the chat and the questions are open for you to type in. But we'll be back in about 2 minutes. Okay, why don't we get started? As I said, I'm Rosalind Bandy. I'm the VP of Sustainability at TLMI. And the Sustainability Awards Committee, which is led by Amy Peacock of FlexCon, wanted to provide some guidance and details about the Sustainability Award submission, how to fill it out, what makes a good answer, etc., so that members can feel comfortable submitting their answers and potentially winning the full award. So Amy's going to go through all of the different levels of the award submissions. And I also wanted to let you know that we will be sending out the PowerPoint to everyone who's registered. So you don't really have to take a lot of notes because you will have the actual PowerPoint to refer to if you do decide to submit something for what we call the Frosties. So everybody is going to be muted. If you have a question as you hear the presentation, just type it in the chat box, and we'll get to those questions at the end. So with that, Amy, I'm going to hand it over to you and give us this lesson on the Calvin Frost Sustainability Award submission.
Thank you, Ross. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining today. As Ross said, we're going to go through the award submission process just to get everyone familiar with that process and the different levels of the awards, and hopefully make it as seamless and easy a process as possible as we move forward. We've worked on some streamlining, et cetera, over the last couple of years. So again, thank you for joining. Going over the agenda today, we're going to go through, the why should you submit for this award, the different award levels, an example of each of the awards. So we'll walk through each of the questions of the application and give you live examples of how the answers should be or could be submitted for those award levels. And then we'll open it up for a Q&A session at the end as well. So moving into the why participate. So the committee has been meeting monthly and really trying to think through how do we make sure this program is recognized by all the committee members and really understand if we should be engaging and really marketing the program so that others are participating. So, a couple of reasons why. TLMI wants to recognize members who are taking steps that show their company is focused on sustainability. So this is really important for us. And we want to work on sustainability as if it is an ever-evolving issue and situation that needs to be addressed. So we want to encourage members to continually focus and improve their efforts. So this isn't something that should be a one-time thought process. It's really something that should be worked on throughout the course of the year. Suppliers and converters are encouraged to participate, and winners will be recognized in publications such as Sustainable Brands newsletter. So there's a lot of publicity that comes along with this. So we're really encouraging folks to participate, and then they'll get showcased in different ways through the membership. This is also a great way to share your success stories and learn from other members. So it can be shared across the entire organization, TLMI organization, and others can learn from you and from what you've done, and also apply that to their own organizations, which can really help increase the support of sustainability. Sorry about that. I thought I shut that off. And the last is the award is now open for several months to encourage sustainability being at the front of mind of all members. So the submission deadline is August 27th, 2021. So there's a couple months where we can be focused on doing this. It did open up in the May timeframe, so it has been open for a while now. So we're just going to encourage folks to continue to submit for this award. So I'm going to move into the three different award levels. So the first is the Trailhead Award. So this award is earned by a member company that is early on in their sustainability journey. So they may not have fully implemented their sustainability efforts, but they have goals and they've begun planning a strategy. So this is really for folks who are just starting out on their journey, but we want to make sure we're recognizing people that are in different phases. So folks that have just started should also be applying for this award. The second award is the Journey Award. So this award is earned by a member company that's not only has publicly stated goals, but has begun implementing short-term actions aimed at long-term metrics to improve their business through their efforts. So this is a company that's really in the midst of their journey. They've been on it for a while, and they're continuing to elevate themselves throughout the process. And the Elevation Award. This award is earned by a member company that is leading the industry with fully formed, publicly stated sustainability goals, strategies, and executions that are improving multiple aspects of sustainability. The award recipient will demonstrate significant, measurable environmental benefits as a result of projects, products, or programs that go beyond regulatory requirements. So this is really the top tier of the award program. So this is for someone who is really mature in the sustainability actions, goals, and their company is really focused on this 100%. So this is one of the highest level award that we are offering as part of TLMI. So the next phase I will walk through is how to fill out each one of these different applications. So the first we'll go through is an example of the Trailhead Award. And again, this is the for companies that are just starting out on their journey. And so I'll give you an example of what this would look like. So the first question is, what's the level of sustainability? So again, you would just choose Trailhead, as this was what the initial award would be. The second question is, what are the main categories of your submission? So here there's several categories, and when you are submitting for this award, you can choose to submit for one category, or you can choose to submit for several categories. So that's really up to you, depending on what you're going to submit. For this example, we're going to submit for 2 categories, so energy use and employee wellness. The third question is, what practice has your company instituted to impact the category or categories you have selected? So in this example, it was energy use and employee wellness. So this company went through the process of switching all their lighting to LED within 4 of their plants, and they also implemented a wellness program for employees which would help reduce their healthcare costs when participating in health activities. The fourth question would be, did you encounter any obstacles or challenges in your process? And if you did, how did you overcome them? So for this, they gave 2 examples. So on the lighting side, the biggest challenge was understanding the upfront costs and how it would translate into energy savings for the future. On the wellness side, it was promoting the program and getting employees engaged and energized around participating. So these are things that I'm sure many companies have challenges with. So this would be a great opportunity for members to reach out to each other and sort of, share feedback as well. Question 5 is, how could your company's program or technology be adopted by others in the industry? And does the program have the potential to help your customers' sustainability goals? So for this one, the answer was yes. On the lighting side, this can be implemented by anyone in the industry. This will also help the customers as they're working towards becoming a circular economy. These programs become critical to provide products with low energy consumption to our customers and help us manage our costs. For the wellness program, a similar program is one that can be adopted by our customers and suppliers. We could provide information and tips on how to develop a program. Proactive health and wellness will also help keep healthcare costs down, promote folks to be out of the office less due to illness, etc. So that obviously can help our customers as well, because if we have employees in the office, then we'll be able to supply and make sure there's no disruption to our work processes. Question 6 is, what is your company doing to show commitment to sustainability? And the things that folks should consider when answering this question is, are there changes to the company culture? Are there increases to the number of employees that are engaged in sustainability topics? Are there measurable environmental benefits? Are there measurable economic benefits? And do we know how to respond to our customers who ask what we're doing regarding sustainability? And using sustainability and transparency is part of attracting new employees. So those are a few points to consider when answering this question. So for this company, it was really focused on, since they're just starting out on their journey, they would be looking to finalize what their definition and their goals are around sustainability. And they're also working on communicating the programs and training employees on what sustainability is and how it's incorporated into their company's mission and strategy. So it really is about working on ensuring that the knowledge is put into practice and into processes that will help the employees be able to sustain it moving forward. And in this example, they also noted that they've been working on problem-solving skills, so they'd be able to ensure the entire company is working on problem solving and helping reduce waste, innovate, and collaborate with others more effectively. So the question number 7, this is a new question from last year as well. This is to provide a listing of quantifiable improvements that were made in relation to your submission. So the key here is we really want answers that are in values, not just percentages. So it's okay to submit the percentages as well, because that provides us a relative level of understanding of the magnitude of the increase or decrease. But the values are really important for us also to make our assessment on the award winners. So in this example, the submission said that electricity usage was reduced. So here they were able to reduce their electricity usage from 1.1 million kilowatt hours per month to 0.9 million kilowatt hours per month. So that equated to an 18% reduction in electricity usage. So this is a great way to represent the values and also the percentages. And the more quantifiable data that's provided, the more objectively the judges can look at the information when they're reviewing all of these submissions and applications. So those were the 7 questions that you'll go through the application. There are a couple more opportunities in the application to submit supplemental information, and I'll go through that at the end of the presentation. So next we'll give an example of the Journey Award. So when I'm going through it this time, I'm not going to read through all the questions. I'm really just going to focus on what the answers and the differences are in the application for the next level. So the Journey Award, again, is for someone who's in the midst of their journey. They've been on the sustainability journey for a while, and they have publicly stated goals, et cetera, and they're really working towards increasing their impact on the environment and on society. So for this Journey Award, the example of what was chosen is energy use, waste and byproduct reduction, and employee wellness. So the practice that was instituted in this example is that the company had created an environmental team. So the team meets regularly, they establish goals and objectives, and they've become more efficient on electric, gas, and water. So they have baseline data so they can understand their impact from a historical perspective and moving forward. They communicate with all their employees, and they've also developed brochures and updated their website and provided e-blasts to customers. So some of the changes that they implemented around this also is installing the LED lights. They had waste reduction initiatives, and they also implemented an employee wellness program. So that consists of an annual plan with monthly focus areas. So they benchmarked their historical costs, and they started tracking their spend annually and seeing what improvements they could put in place. So when you compare this submission to the previous one, this one just has more meat to it, and they're doing a lot more activities related to sustainability than what you saw in the first example. The next is about the obstacles. So for this company, their obstacles were developing the message and getting the employee buy-in. So they found that making the investment and walking the talk helped show employees their commitment. Investments in new equipment and technologies were made, and building audits were processed by external sources. So in this instance, they actually were investing money to determine how they could make themselves better from a sustainability perspective. So they're going a little bit above and beyond what was done in the first submission. So they looked at installing climate and humidity control, and then they recognized employees for their creative solutions for reducing wastes. And how could this be adopted by others? Many of these changes can be incorporated universally. So we talked about this in the earlier submission, the LED motion lighting, city bins for recycling, reduction in water, the wellness program, so proactive health and wellness will manage healthcare costs, etc. So again, just building on the first submission and how they can share their learnings with others within the organization. And what's the company doing to show the commitment? So this company has incorporated sustainability into their mission and values. So they're driving to incorporate as part of their corporate culture. So we talked about updates to the website, providing customers with e-blast, and conducting employee meetings to communicate the benefits that have been obtained, and providing employee recognition on suggestions. So a great way to engage the culture and the entire organization around sustainability. And lastly is the quantifiable improvements. So you'll see in this submission, there are a lot more quantifiable improvements than in the Trailhead Award. So for this, natural gas was reduced. So you can see the progression year over year here in therms and in dollars. The electricity usage was also reduced. So same, you can see it here in kilowatt hours and cost per 1,000 units. They also reduced water usage. So you can see that in gallons and then dollars per gallon or 1,000 gallons. They also reduced waste. So here you can see the dumpster loads have gone down for the last 3 years and the cost. And they also increased their recycling and reuse of their corrugated. So you can see the number of loads that have been recycled and reused. So a lot more quantifiable data in this submission than the last one. So lastly, we'll go over the Elevation Award. And again, the Elevation Award is the highest award of the Sustainability Awards, and it's really focused on a company that has clearly stated goals, is 100% committed to sustainability, is really making a vast improvement to the environment and the society and the work that they're doing. So here, for this category, they chose waste byproduct reduction, recycling, education, energy use, and then office culture as well. So the practices that this company instituted, there's a lot on here, and I do want to say, just as a note, that your answers can be much longer than what is displayed on these PowerPoint slides, but we wanted to keep the content to a limited amount as we're going through this. But I'm not going to read through all of these, but I'll read a couple. So, one of the things they did is they moved to more digital printing. So they were able to be more eco-friendly when producing short-run labels. They also moved to 100% wind power. So they converted all of their electric power to wind generation and eliminated all carbon emissions for their electric power generation. And they also implemented plastic wrap recycling. So they partnered with a local food store to recycle all their plastic pallet wrap since the trash haulers could not take it. So you can see as we've progressed through the different levels of awards, they've gotten more robust. Did this company encounter any obstacles? So at first, the early stages of the project, they had quick wins. And they were able to avoid landfill in more than 95% of their waste. One of their major challenges was from materials that are neither easy to recycle or incinerate for energy recovery, like PVC. To achieve their 100% landfill-free goal, they replaced these items with one that could safely be incinerated. The other is employee engagement. This was also difficult initially. And even when the commitment was strong, there was sometimes confusion on where to put materials, sometimes confusion what was recyclable and what was not. And this had to be overcome through continued education and training. So could this program be adopted by others? So what this company has done can't be done by every other label converter and supplier, because the main thing we do is create a mindset. So the entire program they've created is based on awareness of the environmental impact of every decision by every person in the company. So it can be done by any other company as well. It's just, how do we create that mindset within your organization? So for these folks, it was don't ever waver from the cause. Showing examples to the employees and providing them consistent reminders is really a key for them. Walking the talk, so investing in digital water wash plates and the 100% wind power reinforced how serious they were about sustainability. sharing their success stories. So with customers, employees, investors, vendors, so really making it a great marketing advantage was really a focus here, and then measuring the progress. So really showing that data and that quantifiable data of what the impact is to the environment, I think really reinforces the importance of doing it, and it shows folks that it really is making an impact. And how is the company showing the commitment? So what gets measured matters. So they track their waste, they track their power usage, their water, their natural gas, every single month. So the numbers tell the real story, and their story is a good one. So the data they share in a graphical format at every quarterly sustainability meeting, so that it's consistently shown and in team members' minds as they go through. The other thing is, they've also indexed their results. So they're looking at it year over year, not just month over month. So they were able to show a reduction in natural gas of 36%, garbage 3%, electric power 10%, and water 42%. So they remind their team members each day that they contribute to their success, and it's a constant focus on changes that make this a significant impact over time. And lastly, here is the quantifiable data. So was your natural gas reduced? Yes. And I think we talked about that in the last slide, 36% due to, but one challenge for them is due to an increase in production, their natural gas usage increased. So this is a challenge when people are measuring their data. There's also volume dependencies. So your natural gas may be going down on a per therm basis, but if your volume goes up, then your usage goes up. So you got to try to stabilize and take that into account when calculating out what the impact is to the environment based on sort of a static calculation. Their electricity usage reduced. So again, because of the production of this particular example, their usage did not decrease. However, they're now 100% renewable energy with zero carbon emissions. So a great story there to tell. Their water usage did decrease by 10,000 gallons annually. Their landfill also reduced. So it was originally 80,000 pounds and now it's zero. So 100% reduction. And there was also an increase in their recycling and reuse. So 45,000 pounds annually was increased to recycling and reuse. So as you can see, as we went through each three of the awards, they got greater in substance around sustainability, environmental and culturally. As you saw, there was many submissions for energy usage, but also for wellness and culture as well for employees' health and well-being. So just one last slide on additional information. When you're going through the submission, there will be 3 additional questions at the end that allow you to add optional attachments. So what we've seen in the past is attachments such as PowerPoint presentations, white papers, publications, brochures, different pictures, and then also links to different websites. So if they've updated their company website and things of that nature, they provided links so that the committee members and judges could see those and review those at the time of submission. And then lastly, question 11 is just be sure to include the contact and information of the individual in your organization who can answer your questions regarding your application. So sometimes there are questions regarding the submission, so we just want to make sure that we have the right contact information to reach out to in case there are questions, and so we can get those questions answered in a timely manner to be able to support the submission review and judging. So with that, I can open it up for any questions that any of the participants may have.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. So actually, because we don't have that many people on the line, I'm happy to unmute everyone. And that way, if if you just want to speak your question and have a back and forth, that's totally fine. Um, Jim, do you want to actually ask your question or do you want me to read it? Well, I guess I don't hear you, but Jim's question is, what type of supporting documentation do you ask or require for claims such as purchasing renewably sourced electricity or landfill volume?
Yeah, Jim, that's a great question. So I believe with the submissions, I don't believe we're asking for proof. So this is really going from a trust perspective, but sometimes in the submission packets, folks are providing that information, showing what they've done. They've also provided presentations of the different information and financial impact and things of that nature, as well as brochures that they may have published that show the information as well. I don't think we necessarily go back and ask for proof of the data that is provided, unless Ross, there's a different view that you have on that.
No, I agree. I mean, we trust you. We want you to, we assume you're telling us the the truth. And it's, the data is important. So if you're purchasing electricity, how is that impacting your energy use? That sort of thing.
Thanks. It
Another
took me a
question.
moment to get my headset on. Thanks. The other one I had was,
Okay,
tell
there
us
you are.
about tell us about what the judge in a non-pandemic world. What is the judge's experience like, and how do you gather and do the work? And do they have however many journeys laid out in front of them? And do you debate or vote, or how does that all go?
Yeah, so Jim, what there is there's a scorecard that we have created as a committee where we judge each question based on a different ranking. And the committee has come up with what are those ranking criteria. And based on those, we then would have a discussion around who we felt had the most, robust, I guess, submission for each of the different categories. So we rate each category separately. So there's 3 separate buckets based on the submissions. And then we would judge those based on each of those 3 buckets and the criteria. And if there's, if there's 2 that we feel very strongly about that are in one criteria, we may issue 2 awards within that subsection. So there is objectionable data that we are rating on, and then there is some subjectivity based on conversations and the comparison of the submissions.
And we
Thank
try
you.
to come to the entire team tries to come to an agreement on, who the winner is. And if it's not that clear, then, we have put together sort of a recognition award. And we agree, we all agree on that as well. So if there's no other questions, Amy, I wanted to ask you about, this year has been kind of for many TLMI members, a kind of a gangbuster year in terms of production. So if a company has a huge increase in production and a corresponding increase in energy use, natural gas, et cetera, it seems like indexing might be the way to go there rather than absolute numbers. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, Ross, that's a great question. And I think that makes a lot of sense because it would be able to give a baseline of what is comparable year over year. Because once you throw volume into the mix and a real increase or decrease in volume, and for that matter, can really show the results in a disproportionate way. So I do agree that indexing is probably the way to go, given what we're seeing in the climate and the environment right now, particularly for high volume increases or decreases.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess if there are no other questions, we will end the webinar now, and we will be sending out this PowerPoint to all of you for just to use as a reference. So thanks so much for attending, and we'll see
Thanks,
you
Rob.
at the
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good day.